Hi, first of all, well done on clicking. Welcome to the webinar where I'm going to be sharing with you all the necessary strategies that you need to have to be able to excel in your sales career. Now, probably the reason why you have clicked on this webinar is because of the fact that sometimes you feel slightly lost in your sales career. There are days when things go up and then there are days when things go down. So in the next 40 minutes or less, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be sharing with you what are the areas that you must guard so that you'll be able to enjoy a sales career that is fruitful, both financially, and at the same time it builds on you emotionally, that you always want to keep on becoming better than where you are. So please have your notebooks ready, please have your pens ready. Let's begin. Now, the first thing that I would like to talk about when it comes to sales is this. In all my years of training, I've met many people who have asked me this question: Leroy, how do I excel in sales? Whether or not you are from the B2B, whether you're from B2C, or whether you're from B2G, many people have always asked this question: how do I excel in sales, especially when the economy and the market is becoming more and more competitive? I'm sure that you agree with me that somehow or another, our consumers are becoming more intelligent. They're becoming more demanding. They are becoming more, well, I would say, difficult to handle. So let's begin to look at some of the strategies that we need to use so that we can prepare ourselves, at the same time work hard at increasing our revenues. Sales excellence comprises of three main parts. We're looking at these three. Now, first and foremost, we are looking at knowledge. When we talk about knowledge, I'm not talking about, importantly, the knowledge of your own product. Many of you have already gone through extensive product training by your own companies, or if you own your own business, you basically understand where your product is placed in the market, it is placed in the consumer's eyes. Now, what I would like to talk about would be attitude and aptitude. Now, for many people, they possess great attitudes. Like for many of you, you probably are very motivated. Every single day when you wake up, you're jumping out of bed and you're saying, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to sell as much as I can, and I'm going to increase my revenue, right? But at the same time, there will be days where things go down. Even the most successful salespeople, do they face situations where they don't sell? Do they have months when things don't go right? Are there weeks after weeks after weeks where somehow or another nothing goes into flow? Absolutely. It does happen to the best of the salespeople. However, the reason why they are still able to increase their sales over time is because of one simple reason. They have a full understanding of how they manage their attitude towards their sales career. So let's talk a bit about attitude first. Alright, when it comes to attitude, I'm going to share with you some parts of our Sales Pro conference that we run in many different countries every single year. Now, what we normally teach when it comes to attitude is that when it comes to attitude, we need to be very careful about how we define results and beliefs. Results and beliefs. Now, being in sales, we are always very result-oriented. Every single day, we are reminded of our results. If we don't remind ourselves of our results, our bosses remind us of our results. If we don't remind ourselves of our results, our wives or husbands are always reminding us of our results. You're working so hard, where's the money? Now, because we are very result-oriented, it actually creates a very negative cycle in our lives. The reason why I say it creates a negative cycle is because when we are result-oriented, we are actually putting a lot of focus in the wrong area. Now, successful people in sales, they understand that results are important. However, they understand that there's something more important than results. And this thing that is more important than results actually controls the quality of results. And what I'm talking about is the word beliefs. I'm sure that for many people, when we are result-oriented, whenever we get certain types of results, we have created different types of beliefs in our lives. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, let me give you a little example here, okay? Now, when we have positive results, very naturally, we form very positive beliefs, right? Because when you've got positive results, it obviously makes you feel a lot better about yourself, about your product and the market that you're selling in. So whenever a salesperson gets positive results, what happens very simply is that we tend to form positive beliefs. And we form beliefs in three main areas. The first area is obviously beliefs in yourself. The second area is in your product or the company that you represent. And thirdly, we form beliefs about the market that we are selling in. Now, let me just quickly expand on this for you. Now, when you have got positive results, what happens very simply is that you form positive beliefs about yourself. That's natural. You will say things like, I can sell, I can handle my objections, I can influence my customers, I can be able to get my points across and people believe me. I'm a great salesperson, I'm in the right career. Now, you also have positive beliefs about your product and company. So for example, you sell really well in a month. You start to believe that your product is saleable. You believe that your product is viable. You believe that your company is respected, your company is accepted by the market. And thirdly, when you get positive results, you start to have positive beliefs about the market that you're in. So you will say things like, oh, the market is on a upturn, right? Things are getting more and more, easy to sell. People are buying. Consumer spending habits are increasing. Now, when you have positive results and you form positive beliefs like this, it keeps you going. However, let me ask you a very simple question. Do you think you always have positive results? Let's be honest, you don't. There are always days, there are always weeks, there are always months when you go to your clients, you meet your clients, you sell to them, and you give your very best, same strategy, same effort, same conviction, but somehow or another they say no. Now when that happens, many of us, we just let it go. We say, never mind, it's alright, dust the day off, I'm moving on to the very next day, right? And we keep on going and going. So what happens is that we fluctuate, alright? We fluctuate between good results and bad results, and we just tend to shrug it off. The problem here is this. After a while, you get pretty tired of the negative results. You get pretty confused about the negative results. Because in your mind, you start to create boundaries where you say things like, you know something? I get positive results when I sell to this type of client, but I don't get positive results when I sell to another type of client. I get positive results when I sell this particular product, but people don't buy when I sell the other product. My company is only respected, my company is only recognized by certain individuals, but some other individuals, they do not recognize my company. And the market seems to be shifting. So when all of these doubts about yourself, about your product and company and your market start to set in, what happens is that you start creating a very negative cycle. Now what do I mean by this? Let me just very quickly explain to you. You see, when you have positive results, very naturally, positive about yourself, positive about your product, positive about your market. But when you start to have negative results, many people, they start to question themselves. They start to question the product. They start to question the market. So when the results change, the beliefs change. The results change, the beliefs change. So some months good, some months bad, some months good, some months bad. So you've got months which is good, bad, 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 good, 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 bad. And after a while, what happens? You get absolutely confused, right? Because you are doing the same thing every single day over and over and over and over again. But somehow or others, your results are not consistent. Now, what that creates in a salesperson is not any form of motivation. It actually creates confusion. And I'm sure that many of you have felt that way before. Where after a while, the mindset that you create in yourself is you say things like this. I'm just going to go out there, sell as much as I can, and see what happens. I'm going to go out down there, sell as much as I can, and if they buy, they buy. If they don't buy, they don't buy. That's the way it is. For some of you who are managers, when you ask your salespeople, your next month target how, their response to you is, next month, I see how. Or in their mind, they're just going to work as hard as they can and see what happens. Now, this creates a blame game, right? That means we start to blame ourselves. We say, I'm not that good after all. Or we start to blame the product. Or this product is only good for this type of customer. This product is not right for that type of customer. And we start to blame the market and say that it is shifting. Now the interesting thing here is this. What is the correct way to think? What is the right way to do this? Because if you were to get yourself trapped in this type of an attitude, eventually two things will happen. Number one, you will change company and change company and change company and realize that somehow or another nothing seems to change. Or number two, you will leave this beautiful sales industry altogether. There is actually a correct way to do this so that you don't feel angry, you don't feel frustrated, you don't feel lost every time your results change. Successful salespeople, they understand this. They understand that results should never change our beliefs. But more importantly, we reverse it, and what we do is that we use beliefs to control our results. So let's begin to explore the attitude that successful salespeople have. Okay, so successful salespeople, how do they manage themselves? Okay, well, like I said, we need to not allow our results to change our beliefs. Successful salespeople, they are what we like to call belief-oriented. So what they do is that they start their entire day, every single day, with beliefs first. So for example, when they wake up in the morning, when they approach their job, when they approach their clients, they've always got a very clear indicator in their mind. I need to make sure that my beliefs are set usefully. That means, for example, what they say is that I can sell, my product can sell, and the market can sell. They maintain these thoughts in their heads. They believe that they can sell, they believe that their product is viable, their product is saleable, and they believe that the market is ready to buy. Now, when they believe this, what it ultimately does is that it causes them to take a lot more action. The more you believe in yourself, the more action you take. Now, how do you formulate useful beliefs in yourself, product, and the market? That is what we normally share in the Sales Pro Conference. How do we actually build on our beliefs effectively? Once you have built your beliefs effectively, you find that you take a lot more action. Now, when you take action, ultimately what that does is that it releases a lot more potential. Potential in what areas? These three areas: yourself, product, company, and market. With that potential, what happens is that you will either get a positive result, or sometimes you will get a negative result. Now, for successful salespeople, they always understand that positive results and negative results are common. It happens on a daily basis, right? When they have a positive result, what it does is that it reinforces the beliefs. However, when they get negative results, they do not focus on allowing themselves to change their beliefs. The beliefs remain constant. Now, this is the crux, okay? This is where you need to pay very close attention. People who do not succeed in sales, when their results are negative, their beliefs change to become negative. Successful salespeople, when their results are negative, alright, their beliefs do not change. They still maintain the belief of I can sell, my product can sell, my market can sell. The only thing that changes is their strategy. Because successful salespeople, they understand that if I'm unable to sell to a client, I must always remember that somebody else can. Which means that that other person who can sell to that client possesses the strategies required to make the client buy. So what a successful salesperson does is that he becomes very hungry for strategies. Which means that every time they approach a client, they don't only have one strategy, right? They've got multiple strategies. So if one strategy doesn't work, they just deploy the next one. They deploy the next one. They deploy the next one until they actually get the result that they want. So every time they have free time, every time they have extra money, every time they've got extra time, what they do is that they invest it into learning. For example, going for trainings, going for seminars, reading books, speaking to their managers, and learning from many other people. So if you want to succeed in your sales, this is the attitude that you must have. So in summary, I repeat, believe in yourself, believe in your product and company, believe in the market. Because you know that if you cannot sell to someone, remember, somebody else can. You take a lot more action because of your beliefs. You release more potential about yourself, product and market. When you get a positive result, yippee-ki-yay, you reinforce a belief. If you get a negative result, your beliefs remain the same. The only thing that changes is your strategy. And that is where, my friends, attitude comes in. That means that is where skill sets come in. To succeed in sales is not only about having the right attitude, but it's also about having the right aptitude. So let's begin to talk a bit about the aptitude that you need to have to be able to excel in the 21st century consumer market. Alright, let's begin to talk about aptitude. So previously we talked a bit about attitude, and now you know that you have to be belief-oriented. Let's talk a bit about aptitude right now. Now when it comes to aptitude, many salespeople, what they believe is that for me to become more effective in my sales career, I need to sell more effectively. Let me just share something with you. That is only one part of four main parts when it comes to having a more effective sales career. You see, being able to manage your business is one, and secondly, being able to manage your client is another. So let's talk a bit about managing your business first, okay? Well, when it comes to sales and managing your career, managing your business, there are four areas. Like I mentioned to you, many salespeople, they're always focused on being able to sell more effectively, which is this part, managing your client. This is where the sales process comes in. This is where you sell to your client. However, there are many things that lead up to this. So firstly, it's about lead generation. One of the best ways to be able to excel in a sales career is to always have continuous leads. And this is where many salespeople, maybe even yourself, you struggle. Because currently in the market, in the economy, there are many competitors that you are dealing with every single day. One singular buyer has got maybe 20 or 30 companies to choose from. And even for some of you, maybe your own colleague in your own department is your own competitor. The question at the end of the day is this: is sales really about being able to sell effectively, or is sales really about being able to get the client in front of you first and then selling effectively? What I'm talking about here is the difference between differentiation and competition. Many organizations, many companies, their products are always in competition with the market. They are all very similar. And many times, what do they compete on? They compete on price, they compete on free gifts, they compete on being able to add more value-added services. Now, all of these things increase the cost of your organization, and sometimes what it does is that after a while, your competitors catch up. One of the most important skills that you must learn is how do you differentiate yourself from everybody else. For example, why is McDonald's the largest and most successful fast food chain in the world? They provide burgers like many other companies, but they are one of the most successful, or if not the most successful fast food chain, is because they have a certain strategy that has worked for them for many years. They have been able to differentiate themselves effectively from all the other competitors. So my question to you here is this: have you learned enough lead generation strategies to be able to differentiate yourself from your competitors? So for example, if I was a potential buyer, why should I choose you and not the other company? Why should I choose you and not the other organization? See, at the end of the day, both of you might have the same price, same product specifications, same product offering. But why do I choose you? It goes beyond great service. It goes beyond just having a slightly different product from everybody else. Really, at the end of the day, it's all about creating a strong strategic partnership with your clients. So what you have to do is that you have to spend a lot of time to learn how to create strategic partnerships with your clients, such that clients in their mind, they've only got a singular mindset. They say to themselves, I must choose you and not anybody else. Because when I choose you, I gain the most. If I choose anybody else, I'm cutting myself short. Now, it's not only about price. It can be about product. It can be about the people. It can be about the process. So all of these skills and strategies are things that you must learn so that lead generation is easy for you. You always have an abundance. You create a funnel where people keep on coming to you, that eventually you don't have an issue with having not enough people to sell. Now, these are all strategies and they can be learned. even if you take the most plain product, the most simple product, the most bread and butter product, with the right lead generation, you will be able to increase the number of leads that come to you. Now, the next thing here is this. Besides having the leads come to you, once the leads come in and you go and meet your clients, right? What you show to your clients is really important. All the way from your brochures, your product samples, down to your name card. The designs, the way it looks, the way it feels. What people bring to meet their clients affects the whole entire selling process. What I'm talking about here is what we call your appointment toolkit. You need to learn how to be able to dress up the entire sales process from the very moment that you meet your client. From the way you are, the way that your brochures look, the colors, the design, the quality of the photographs, the placement, the information inside of it. Now, whether is it your brochures, whether is it your websites, whether is it your emailers, whatever it is that is client facing, you need to ensure that you learn the right strategies, how to capture the imagination, how to capture the attention, and how to capture the desire in your clients for them to want to take the next step with you. Only when that has happened, then we are talking about managing your client. That means you're going to go through the whole selling process, asking your questions, your technical questions, you're asking your specification questions, you're asking all the questions that help you to make your client say yes. Now, this is a whole segment that I'll talk about a bit later. Now, many salespeople, they make another mistake. Once they finish closing a client, they jump straight back to lead generation. Now, effective salespeople, they're not only looking at lead generation to get more clients, they are also continuously on the back end doing what we call business building. Alright? Business building and also client retention. That means they're very focused on creating systems that retain their clients. And retention of clients is not only by just selling a singular product. How do you make your clients buy more? That means what we're looking at is increasing the average dollar purchase. And we're not only looking at increasing average dollar purchase, but we're also looking at repeat purchases. Alright? And repeat purchases can either be by the client themselves or the client brings somebody else. So what we're talking about is creating an effective word of mouth, or we're looking at creating an effective referral system. Now, even when it comes to referral systems, you need to be very clear about how you create one. Are there formulas for this? Absolutely. But what we need to do is that we need to invest time. Yes, this is not a direct revenue generating activity. However, it is a passive revenue generating activity. So if you really want to have an effective sales career, you need to ensure that after you sold your client, you create a platform, you create an environment, you create opportunities for them to continuously remain with you and to expand their network into yours. Then what happens is that it becomes a passive lead generation activity while you have your active lead generation activities. And this continuously floods your business. This continuously floods your organization with quality leads and leads that they can convert. So when it comes to aptitude, it's not only about managing your clients, it's really about managing your business to ensure that you've got the right strategies in these 4 areas so that you can be able to be well balanced. So what I would like you to do right now here is this. I would like you to take stock of what you're currently doing in your sales career or in your business right now. Take stock. Take a look at where are you in all of these areas. What strategies have you used? What are the results that they have brought? And what areas and what gaps are you facing? Because once you know what these are, then you can invest your time, invest your money to go and learn these strategies. And what we do is that we have been spending many years sharing and teaching organizations and people how to do this. And so we know for a fact that as long as you put in the time, you will be able to also enjoy the same amount of success that these individuals and organizations have. So now I've spoken about managing your business and managing your sales career. Next up, we're going to be talking about managing your client and what is the one very important area that you need to focus on. Now that we have covered about how you can effectively manage your business, manage your sales career, let's take a look at how you manage your client. Now, for many salespeople, what do we normally do? We have invested time, we have invested money, we have invested whatever we can to learn as many sales skills out there. For example, spin selling, credential selling, evidential selling, top-down selling, up-down selling, cross-selling. We have spent so much time learning all these selling techniques, but the moment we go up to our client, we look at them, doe-eyed, and we wonder, which one do I use? I'm sure that many of you have faced that before, right? You reach a client and you're not so sure which technique do I use. Now, in the same way, it's like war, isn't it? When you go and fight a battle, you need to know what your enemy has. So whether you take out the pistol, whether you take out the RPG, whether you take out a tank or a fighter plane, you need to know what your enemy is. So in this case, it's the same thing. I'm not saying that your client is your enemy, but what I'm saying is that you need to go through the process of a KYC. Know your client. This is a very basic term that has been thrown around for many years. Know your client, know your client, know your client. So many of us, we believe that knowing our client means to know a bit about their specifications, to know a bit about their budget, to know a bit about their timelines. But what I'm talking about is a more intimate, a more intricate knowledge of a client. We are looking at psychology of your client. A lot of salespeople, they don't understand their clients psychologically. They know what their clients want, but they don't know what their clients fear. They know what their clients need, but they do not know how the clients created their need. What we're looking at is to know your client's internal psychology. So for example, this is your client and this is you. You are going to be selling to your client. At the end of the day, what do we want? We want our client to make a purchase. Because when they make a purchase, that is when we get our results. But how many times have you had this situation? When you face your client and you begin to speak, one client says yes, they're excited, they put pen to paper, you've got your revenue. You said the same thing to another client in a similar fashion, and that client said no. And they actually showed quite a lot of disinterest. And you walk away scratching your head, wondering to yourself, huh? What just happened? Was it that one client was all for it and the other client was all against it? Well, it's very simple. Your product might be great. Your product might be awesome. Your product might be something that your client really needs, but they still do reject you. Why? Because when we sell, we must always remember something goes on inside here. And it goes on differently in every single person. You see, any information that is going to your client, it goes through what we like to call a filtration process. And in actual fact, in sales, there are about 8 different filters that we have to work with. Some of the filters will be memories, some filter will be language, some will be values, some will be decision-making styles. Some of it could have been possibly something as simple as whether they believe your product or not. All of these filters are acting at the same time differently in different people. That's why 2 different people can respond to you differently from the same singular feature. I give you an example. Okay? Let's say you tell your client that your product is made in Germany. Now, in your mind, made in Germany, when you give them that feature, to you it means that, oh, it is of high quality and it is long lasting, right? That is what you want your client to believe, and that is supposed to help him to make a buying decision so that you can get your closed sale. Question here is this: when you tell your client made in Germany, what do you think actually happens inside of their mind as to how they represent that feature? You see, filters create 3 different effects. For those of you who are slightly familiar with NLP, you might have heard this before, but we're going to be looking at it from a sales context. You see, what happens is this: when information passes through, the filters activate. And filters, remember this, always activate to protect your client's interests. Okay? So their own internal filters protect them. The filters create 3 effects. One effect is called a deletion, one effect is called a distortion, and one effect is called a generalization. Now, these three effects can create negative responses from your client. What do I mean by this? Let's say, for example, we come back to the same point, made in Germany. Honestly, it's supposed to mean a good thing, right? You're looking at long-lasting and high quality. Question here is this: the filtration system might either cause a deletion, a distortion, or generalization. And that actually lowers the true value of your product in your client's eyes. Let me give you an example here. So if I were to tell my client, made in Germany. Now, maybe based on the filter of beliefs, where your client in his mind, his belief is that I don't care where it's made. For as long as it works, I don't really care where it's made, right? So when you tell your client it's made in Germany, there's a huge potential that because they believe that there's no reason for them to care of the origin, right? They would have deleted that feature altogether in their decision-making process later. So therefore, you have lost one very powerful feature because it was deleted. That's one. Two, another filter could have been different. Maybe your client values price. One of the decision-making factors for them is price. They are always looking at price, right? When you tell your client made in Germany, what could potentially happen is that the information that you give to them could be distorted. That means when you tell your client, oh, this product is made in Germany, your client might be going, oh, that sounds expensive. The reason why he says that sounds expensive is because his belief and his value is what? I only want to look at price. So now, the good feature of made in Germany has worked against you because now your client is feeling that this is going to be expensive. So his guard is already up. Or, the third effect, generalizations. Maybe when you tell your client, made in Germany, in his mind he might just say what? Yeah, they're all made in Germany anyways, right? Or it doesn't really matter. Or you know what? The quality is always good no matter where it's made. It's a sweeping opinion. And again, this particular feature loses its value. Now, can you imagine this? If one human mind can delete, distort, or generalize one feature, can you imagine what happens when you give your client 10 features? When you give your client 10 features, and in the 10 features, what happens very simply is that 2 of it is deleted, 2 of it is distorted, 3 of it is generalized. So by the end of your entire sales pitch, many of your features have been deleted, distorted, and generalized, and that is why your client says no. So this is why we need to know our clients. What we need to spend a lot of time knowing before we even start looking at specifications, budgets, and our normal questions. Before we look at which technique we use, we need to spend a lot of time to learn what these filters are and how each of these filters affect your client in the buying process. We need to also learn how to be able to manage our selling process so that we minimize deletions, distortions, and generalizations negatively, and we maximize deletions, distortions, and generalizations positively. Yes, you can learn how to sell to make your client delete positively. You can learn how to sell to make them distort and generalize positively. Now, all of these things are necessary skill sets in a situation where right now your customers and your consumers are so much more intelligent, so much more demanding, and so much more knowledgeable. So managing your client encompasses knowing your client. That means, how do we get into their internal psychology? Because what they think about is how they feel. And we know that emotions is one of the stronger drivers in making somebody buy. But being able to bring out your client's emotions is a whole new topic altogether, of which I will not have time to cover now. But what I really would like you to spend some time on now is this. I want you to think of 2 or 3 of your clients right now. And I want you to ask yourself, how much do you really know about their internal psychology? How much do you really know about their filtration systems? How much do you really know about what they're deleting, distorting, and generalizing every time you sell to them? Because once you have been able to learn this, my friends, you will learn how to be a salesperson where every word that comes out of your mouth is pinpoint perfect.